Grandpa Harold had a great sense of humor and made friends wherever he went for all of his 94 years. He did have some personality quirks, though. Two in particular that we still laugh about. The first thing about Grandpa is that he was a bargain hunter. He was frugal. Okay, he was cheap. He was really cheap, big time cheap. One time he went to a meeting called Plan and Prepay Your Own Funeral because the event included a free chicken dinner. Well, free was his favorite word, and come to think of it, dinner wasn't far behind. But Grandpa, you told me like a month ago that you'd already pre-planned and prepaid your funeral. Well, sure, but they didn't know that. I still got the chicken dinner. Yeah, he really pulled one over on the funeral industry there. Another example was when I bought him a new beach chair. What do I need this for? I already have one. Your chair is down to 2 strips of fabric in each direction that you balance your butt on. Oh, it's still perfectly good. Months later, I found the one that I had bought in his closet, still in the original plastic wrap. There's no need for it yet. I don't want to see your nice new one get ruined. Yes, old man, protect my $12 investment at all costs. So yes, he was cheap. The second thing to know about Grandpa is that he saw himself as solid in his beliefs and sure of what was right, which is all really nice ways of saying that he was pain in the ass stubborn. More so with each passing year, which is why I gave up trying to convince him to use the beach chair. It just wasn't worth the effort. In December of 1999, everyone was worried about the Y2K bug, when computers worldwide were supposed to crash because they would think it was 1900. Well, Grandpa, that technology pro, he wasn't buying it. That's ridiculous. How could anyone with half a brain think it was going to be 1900 again? If you'll put your teeth in, I'll explain it to you. Grandpa hated wearing his dentures around the house. He got up grumbling, "You know you can understand me perfectly well without them." He also knew this wasn't true, but he'd say it anyway. Then he trudged off to the bathroom, returning a minute later, baring his teeth like a Great Dane to prove he'd acquiesced. Now, I had to keep in mind that his only exposure to a computer was playing blackjack against Windows XP and using AOL in a 40-point font. Well, Grandpa, I began, there's no person involved here. It's just the computer. That's even crazier then. Computers are smarter than people. But computers aren't smart or dumb. They're just logical. So when they compare 99 to 00, they don't think about whether it makes sense. They just know that 00 is smaller. You just said that computers are logical, and it's not logical that 1900 comes before 1999. So there goes your theory. I'm telling you, it's just some trick to make somebody a whole bunch of money, and you're going to see on January 1st that nothing is going to go wrong, and it's all a load of hooey. And a month later, when 10 years of work by millions of computer programmers worldwide paid off, resulting in no major system failures, all it did was prove him right. You see, nothing happened. I knew better than any of you. You sure did, Grandpa. You're a computer genius. And he smiled those big fake teeth. Having been one of those programmers who worked for months to expand the date fields in my system, I knew how wrong he was. And I could have pressed on through his stubbornness to show him the truth. But being as stubborn as he is sometimes, I might have. But why not just let him have this one? This one felt easy, not like that time in 1991. It's his 85th birthday, and I want to take him and my parents someplace nice, but he insists we go to the Broadway Diner, a regular spot for him and his friends. He makes this declaration, "I'm telling you, if you make a reservation there for your birthday and you're over 65, you get a free little cake with your name on it." Mom already said she'd be buying a cake at the bakery, so you don't have to worry about that. No, I've watched those other people get their free cakes over the years. I'm entitled to mine. I want my free cake. So we're going to the Broadway Diner. Frozen vegetables, processed turkey, canned gravy. Quite the special night out. But he's been ornery all morning, and this isn't a battle I feel strongly about. And hey, he's probably going to save me about $50 from the nicer place I'd chosen. Fine, I'll take care of that, I say, accepting our fate. I walk over to the phone and open the phone book. That's what we did before Google. Grandpa takes the phone from me claiming, I know her number. I go to her all the time. You think I can't handle making a reservation myself just because I'm 84? And even though he hasn't put his teeth in yet, he's on the phone making that reservation himself. We arrive at the diner, and Grandpa announces to the man at the hosting station, I'm Harold Teitelbaum, and I've come for my free birthday cake. As we all roll our eyes, the host asks if we wouldn't like to have a seat first. My parents and I all say yes, we would, and we're shown to a table. Our waitress, Alicia, comes and starts to introduce herself. Grandpa interrupts, I'm Harold Teitelbaum, and I've come for my free birthday cake. I'm sure that cake is set and waiting for you all after the meal. I'm thinking your family be wanting to order some food first, hey? All of us gratefully mutter, yes, we would. And through his clear frustration, we do listen to the specials and order our entrees. But no drinks. Water is always good enough and free. You could buy a gallon of soda for what they charge for one glass of it. And even though I'm paying, it's not worth having that argument again. Alicia returns with our entrees, and Grandpa asks, when does the cake arrive? I'm getting annoyed now. Grandpa, when have we ever had dessert sitting on a table while we eat? In any restaurant? Ever at our table? Did Grandma ever put a pie out while serving a meatloaf? The cake is going to come. Chill out. Sensing the tension rise a bit, Alicia steps in. Now you hear me. When you've cleared your plate, you flag me down, and I'll see you to that cake is coming as soon as I can, okay, Pop? I cringe, thinking he'll find being called Pop by her demeaning. But he nods with a grin. He now knows he has an ally in the cake bringing, which he's bizarrely obsessed with. No sooner does he put the last bite of turkey pot pie in his mouth than he's waving her over from 3 tables away while she's taking an order and calling with his mouth still full, young lady, I have finished my dinner. I'm ready for my free birthday cake. And she gives him the universal index finger of 1 minute and disappears as Grandpa awaits the only thing he's apparently been looking forward to, this 6-inch cake that he's thought about for days. In under a minute, thank God, 5 staff members come out of the kitchen carrying this microscopic cake with 3 candles on it. The whole restaurant comes to a stop as patrons seated at nearby tables begin singing happy birthday to you, and we join in. Grandpa's smile spreads from ear to ear, which he can do now because his teeth are in place. It is in this moment that I finally realize why the cake means that much to him. It isn't the taste of it, though he's bound to enjoy that. Or the sharing of it, because it's really almost too small to split 4 ways. It isn't even so much the fact that it was free, although that didn't hurt. It was the chance to be the center of attention in a place where he probably knows a dozen of the regulars. And all these strangers will have to stop their meals, make him the center of attention, and sing to him. It's about him having his moment. So you know what? He's 85. If that's what he wants, so be it. Because I get that it's sometimes fun to be the center of attention. I get to have that in my life. His world is much smaller. Maybe once a year, Harold Teitelbaum wants his chance to be front and center. I finally get it. So I look him in the eye and I sing. I sing big. I sing that song that my friends know I hate more than any other song in the world because it's slow and it's dreary and it's the opposite of anything that sounds happy. But for Grandpa and his big porcelain smile, I sing boldly, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Harold. And just as the song hits the final line, at about 60 diners applaud, Alicia reaches the table with the cake. And she places it down in front of him, and we all look down and see the lettering, which reads, Happy Birthday, Carol. Game over. Carol? He screams above the fading applause. Do I look like a Carol to you? He turns to the no longer singing people at the table behind him. Do I look like my name would be Carol? The color drains from Alicia's face as she grabs the cake, and all 5 staff members run back to the kitchen like a military retreat. Everyone is mumbling at their tables. The host looks really uncomfortable, but he stays at his station. Grandpa, calm down. They just didn't hear you right on the phone. Harold sounds like Carol. Who could think I was a Carol? How many people did I say Harold to? Why would they do this to me? They didn't do anything to you, my mother chirps in. It's just the cakey equivalent of a typo. It could happen to anyone, I say, knowing fully well this is totally not true. It could happen to anyone who makes phone calls without putting their teeth in, is what I know better than to say. In under a minute, thank the Lord, Alicia is back with that same cake. Some brilliant person in the kitchen has changed the C to an H and added a D in the end. Voila! A darned good job, in fact. Knowing he'll be thrilled, Alicia starts to say something, but Grandpa halts her with his hand and says, No, take that away. You ruined my birthday. Even the upbeat and helpful Alicia is finally at a loss, biting her lip as she dutifully takes the cake back into the kitchen without a word. And all because Mr. Toothless wouldn't take the time to communicate effectively or let me do it for him. Now, despite all of our effort and a pretty good meal and tickets to a good show afterwards, we can see that likely nothing is going to turn this night around because of that damned cake. And indeed, this birthday will be ruined, and I'm feeling stuck and frustrated. They embarrassed me in public. They embarrassed you. No one at the other tables was reading your cake. No one would have ever known if you hadn't screamed, Carol! Like she was your mortal enemy coming at you through a pastry. At this, he sulks. Meanwhile, the host is not certain if the unpleasant mumbling at all the surrounding tables is the failure of the restaurant or the grumpy old man whose name is apparently not Carol. He also recognizes Grandpa as someone who has come weekly for years. Now he runs over to the table and nervously interrupts. Mr. Titlebaum, we know you're a regular here, and the Broadway Diner wants your birthday to be a happy one. Would it make this a happy birthday if we gave you your dinner for free? Well, Grandpa pipes down immediately. He heard his favorite word, free. A surprising calm comes over his face. He takes a breath, looks once more at the cake, and stares deeply into the host's eyes. Young man, Grandpa says, with a smile creeping onto his lips, if you give me my dinner for free, you can even call me Carol. And they did every week for years afterward.
It's Milo Shapiro.